What was it like? I mean, I know you sat through the film tonight. So when was the last time you saw the movie on the big screen? And what was it like to see it tonight in this 4K restoration?
I don't know when is the last time I saw it on a big screen, to be honest. I think I saw it in the pandemic with my children, who were super annoyed because I was simultaneously translating. They're like, how much longer is that? I was like, oh my God. It was awesome. It looks great.
Yes,
it looks really good.
Does it look great?
It looks better almost than the original, I want to say. What do you know?
I thought, I've seen the movie so many times over the years, but it's been a while since I saw it on the big screen. And I thought it looked better than I even remembered seeing it back in the day. And, it's just so crazy. Like when I was posting on social media that, we were doing this tonight, like people were like, oh my God, I can't wait. I got my tickets. And then they told me that it sold out a couple days ago. What is your take for how beloved this film is?
I mean, it's if you think about it just in a sense of like what art can do, that there's something that kind of prevails and kind of it sits there hidden in the dark and then it kind of comes back to light. Kind of like The Rock. We talked about that this morning, going back to WWE, the Backstreet Boys. What's happening? I think movies, art, they kind of like, in the best sense, like old friends, and we're sometimes like, I wonder what happened to that person, or I would love to see that again. I would like to have that feeling again, and I loved seeing it, to be honest with you. I was like, oh my God, little things that I forgot, and so many stories. Like, I mean, pretty much anybody you see on screen is like a crew member, because we didn't have any money. It would literally be like, hey, can you just drop that and come, and wow. We couldn't pay extras and stuff like that, so. Everybody's a friend that I'm seeing. It's nice.
How many days did you shoot the film around Berlin?
Oh my God. I think we shot like in 3 weeks or so. It was, I can't even a lot of people probably go to jail these days. Like if we, I remember the whole sequence in the bank where Lola, where it's so quiet and the little man, he's getting like the money and stuff. That was an 18-hour day of shooting. And the director would just be like, are you okay? Can we just do another take? And I was like, oh my God, my heart hurts. I can't even. But yeah, that's what we would do.
So when you're watching the film tonight and you start thinking about things you haven't thought about in a really long time, like what are some of the memories that came back to you about the making of the film?
I mean, so many scenes that you see, like the moment where I'm running next to the yellow subway that comes up, that was super spontaneous. I would be in the director's car, we'd drive to the next location, and he'd be like, whoa, wait, can we just, can we stop you quickly? Can we quickly do this? And it wasn't safe necessarily, or when I'm like on Herr Meyer's car, that's me, I'm just like, would we do that right now? Probably not, There's so many things that, are spontaneous because they had to be. And gotta be honest with you, some of the vibrancy of the film and how ferocious it is probably born out of that spontaneity. If you would talk about it for hours and prep and rehearse and have another person come in and oh my God, you lose momentum sometimes.
The momentum, again, you got to remember when this came out in 1999. 1999 was the best year ever for movies. One weekend after another. This came out in June, which I think was around the time that Election and Blair Witch Project and Eyes Wide Shut, all these amazing films. But when you first got the script, what did that script look like? What were the differences in those earliest sort of versions that you and Tom were working with that were different from the final film?
I remember when I saw the script, the title in German is Lola Runs, and I remember thinking, what's that? That's like an unfinished sentence. It was so strange to me. And I'd probably done, I was a early actor, but I had done 5-6 films or something like that. so I wasn't completely oblivious, but and I think that I hadn't really grown much as an artist. I didn't really watch that many independent films and this and that, so all the sequences like that were repetitive, I was like, why is it starting over? Like, and then there's like cartoon and all the sequences. I think a lot of things got lost on me, and kind of came together when I met Tom finally, the director of the film, because when you speak to him, I don't know if you ever spoke to Tom as well, like he's, what he does is he immediately devours you as a person and lifts you up to eye level. So even though I was this young, clueless person, I was included immediately and plugged into the creative process, which sounds a little, maybe pretentious, but what happens when you do that is that you feel so excited, because you're like invited to the adults' table. Yeah. And I think that every day that we came together to work, we were kind of like children, like we felt invincible. If you're so excited to be doing this for 18 hours,
you better be excited.
You better be excited, and then you go in and you say, let's see what we can do today. And so I think that's why I have these vivid memories, because that's what, as people, not just as actors, that's what we look for every day. That's why you get up. That's why you go to work.
Absolutely, and being part of the creative process and being part of the development of Lola as a character, what were some of the ways in which you did, contribute, to things that even Tom didn't really have in mind for her, but that you said, how about this or how about that? Let's try this, let's try that.
A lot of it was honestly just doing it, because there wasn't a lot of time, and we developed a really deep sense of trust immediately, because he was totally, we were fixated on each other, we had to be. He would come in the morning, and he was very meticulous about every little thing, about the hair and this and that, I remember. And he would sometimes just pass me a little piece of paper, and it had maybe just fragments of a poem or a sentence or something like that was inspiring, and just leave it with me. And then I remember after every take, I would just look at him, and he would be like, and then we knew that it worked. I remember in the scene when there was the scariest scene for me is when Lola gets shot, because that's something that you really can't know. What is it like to die? Yeah. And we talked a lot about that, and then we talked about it just being a one big exhale and surprise, just like, what just happened, kind of a thing. And I remember we could do it because we had no money. We could do it one time, because it's like this whole blood situation, and I think we had like 2 costumes or something. It was so ridiculous. I'm wearing it every day, all day in the film. It's like,
18 hours.
Really? Just have 2 of these? So it was like, but again, today we'd be like, no, we can do this like 10 times, okay? You have a stunt double and this and that. But if someone's like, look, we do it once, okay? That's it. It kind of heightens the stakes. There's like, you can't fail. It's not an option. So you have to trust, like, it's just kind of like a specific way of working. And then when it works out, it's awesome. Yeah. You kind of walk home and you're like, damn, we did that, huh? We did that, yeah.
You did that, and when you see the finished film, you just go, holy shit, we did that. But I'm really curious, like when you first met Tom and you're going over the script, how vivid was Lola's appearance on the page? Like her wardrobe, the color of her hair, or did that come after you talked about it, tried different things?
That was surprisingly not in the script. So I think despite the hair, like everything else was probably how I dressed at the time. I was in acting school, Doc Martens were cool. I don't know that I was wearing a crop top. Like, I don't think that was really a thing, like not in my world. And I remember that they gave me a thong. And I was like, what is that? I was like, I'm not wearing that. And they're like, no, you are. It was the first time I was exposed to that piece of clothing. Probably also only had 2. Gross. And then the hair, we just tried different colors, but red was just worked the best with the background, like all the grays and stuff in Berlin, and I can't imagine it being any other color.
Absolutely not. Like if blue would not have, it would have been a completely different film almost, if you had blue hair. But also, it's in the title, Run is in the title, so this is going to be a physical film. And also an independent film when you knew you were going to shut for a few weeks. So like, were you like, okay, I better stop drinking and just get in shape, or did you just like, you know what, I'm just going to be method and just look exhausted when I'm doing the movie?
Neither. I think Tom very early on was like, it's important that this is a normal person who just runs, like sometimes when people are like overly worked out and ripped, you kind of like, as the audience, I'm like, well, duh, of course you're doing this, So it was important that was not the case. I personally definitely was, I really like to believe I'm in better shape now than I was 20 plus years ago. I was smoking, I was just like, but I was young. And like I said, this excitement, I think, carried us through everything. The running was just a byproduct almost, It was, what sucked was like, at first we're like, we're gonna have a double to run the rehearsals. And then it turned out I needed to run for sound, and then the double was running differently, so maybe I could use sneakers. Oh no, we don't have time to put the sneakers on. So basically, like after a few days, I was running everything in Doc Martens, also just one pair. Can you imagine? But again, you were just like, yeah, sure, let's run, like that. So yeah.
Do that at 22, maybe not now.
The thing is like this: if it's fun, and if you're excited, and everyone around you is also excited, you just keep doing it.
Right. Wow, that sounds amazing. The scene with the red light with Moritz, where you're just laying there talking to each other. How was it filming that scene, and how many takes did you get to do with that? Because it's like that's like the sort of the exhale moment in the film.
That sequence was really different because Moritz and I never really saw each other much during shooting, only for like the particular ending scenes, which was maybe like 2 days of shooting or something. And this was a very quiet day, and I remember we were on a bed and they had mounted like this camera. The cameras were so big back in the day and heavy, where you're like, I hope this doesn't fall on top of me. It was like right here. And now you would probably put a filter. It was like lit red. It was all like just for reals. And we just spent a whole day shooting that.
Wow. It's just a moment like, okay, breather. Okay. I gotta confess, when I was watching the film for the first time, the scene at the very end, after Manny's walking towards Lola, and he's like, hey, all right. I thought like, oh my God, if he gets hit by a bus, I'm really gonna be pissed. But I forgot about that. And when I was rewatching the film, I went, oh shit, I forget what happens. But I have to talk to you. I remember when I first saw the movie. On top of everything else, the music, the score for this film. Talk about work, the songs that you collaborated with Tom on.
It's so crazy because I leaned over to my friend I'm here with, and I was like, that's the director's voice. Like, there's like 2 songs that Tom is singing on. 2. Like, everybody just did everything, like in a Bollywood film, kind of. Like, and I was, after the film, we dated for 5 years, it was like legit. But so I would pick him up from the studio, and they, again, had no money, so they would be like, hey, can you sing some layouts? Like, okay. And then later they were like, do you mind if we use those? Do I get kickbacks? No, I don't. 0. But we got like an MTV award. We're on a platinum record for one of the songs, so that's crazy. But yeah, we were all like, everybody was invited to the table to like sing and do whatever, be in the movie,
Do you remember the last scene that you shot?
Yeah, it wasn't the scene with me. I think it was a shot of one of, I don't remember exactly, but I remember I was really pissed that it wasn't my shot. I really wanted that to be me. and then the first thing was like, when can I wash my hair? Because the hair, so I came to the movie, my hair was jet black, and you wouldn't do that now, but back in the day, they were like, hey, so we're gonna cut your hair, we're gonna bleach it. Like now, I would be like, what? I don't think so. That's not a thing. You're not doing that. Like nobody would do that. But yeah, then they bleached it 8 times. Then we had this color. It was called Directions. Came from London, and they put it on, and it would wash out. So because of like continuity, like I just couldn't wash my hair because it was 3 different colors. So I washed it like once every 2 weeks. Goes along with the whole like clothing and stuff. But it was so dry that it was actually okay. But that was a thing. Like, when can Franka wash her hair? And I remember taking the shower like with really the hair washing, and it was like as if Lola like just came out of me. Like I really washed her out. Like, and that was really sad. I do remember that.
Like it's like bye.
I know. And you're like,
wow.
Yeah.
Or it's not even bye. It's like, hang on, I'll see you in a bit, but in a different way.
Right.
What was it like the first time you saw a cut of the movie? That was almost finished, where it's got all the photos with the fast forwards and seeing how these people like live out their lives in like 3 seconds. I mean, it's an ingenious movie. When you saw the way he put it together, even after you heard about how he was going to do it, when you saw it for yourself, what was your first impression?
I was like, oh, cool, okay, yeah, cool. I think we thought, really, when we first saw it without an audience, we're like, this is kind of like artsy-fartsy, isn't it? Like, oh, nobody's gonna watch this. Like, like Arte was, a very European art channel was one of the, money people behind it. So I think we kind of thought, well, this is like gonna be like at a midnight cool art channel or something. And then the movie was shown to an audience for the first time at the Munich Film Festival. It was like a midnight showing. It was like a secret film. We were the surprise film. And it was a 600 seat or 800 seat theater. It was really late, and I don't know the movie that played before us. And we were like, yeah, let's go, we're tired. Let's see it with like a lot of people. And when the movie was done, it was incredible. People would jump up and scream. It was like, foosball, like a soccer game. And I remember feeling that in my chest. I was like, what is happening? Like that was intense. And that's, I think, when we kind of thought, okay, people see something, that something like kind of, jumped from the screen to the people. Yeah. And that's why we need an audience, right? You don't know that without an audience.
Absolutely. We need an audience. Boy, do we have an audience here tonight.
That's why it's nice to see it in the theater and not on TV.
Absolutely. I mean, you're preaching to the choir, trust me. But I got to say, Franka, when the movie opened, so Berlin Film Festival, I think it was 98, but it was in America, it was 99. And boy, did it really catch on when it opened that summer. When did you start to realize it was catching on from your perspective?
This is really nice because, the movie did its thing, like in Germany or Europe, and that was great. It was like Christmas, it was wonderful. If it had been just that, it would have been fantastic. And then Tom and I were already shooting our next film together in Germany, in a small town called The Princess and the Warrior. And so the numbers would come in via fax. There was like the funny little like curly paper. And we would, because of the time difference, we'd go to work to set in the morning, and in the hotel they would give us the numbers, and they were great. And we were like, oh, cool. And then we would go to set. And I remember there was one night where there was a phone call. We were already in bed. The reception was like, we have Dustin Hoffman on the phone.
Dustin Hoffman?
Dustin Hoffman, who had seen the film and wanted to tell Tom how much he liked the film, and that he wanted to be in his next film. And that's when you're like, okay, this is kind of cool. Like, this is what's happening. Like, and so we were remotely, we were already working, so we were very tethered and very grounded in receiving these wonderful news every day. And then I think we came out for new directors and Sundance and all the things, and then it was really cool.
How do you think Run Lola Run like really changed your life?
I mean, you can apply the principle of what if I hadn't done the film, this and that. the thing is though that, to be honest with you, like, I was already like pretty happy with what I was doing, because I'm from a small town. I never even, like, people don't become actors from where I'm from. But so I went to a really great acting school in Munich. So if I had, let's say, ended up on a small stage, fantastic. I would have been like the happiest person ever.
Yeah.
So to have all the other things on top was just, you know, extra. And I really appreciated it. It was just, I think it showed me the world, you know, like traveling and meeting like-minded people, you know, at festivals. You talk to directors or actors, and that's lovely because you get a little bit of a sense of that, I don't know, like the other people, you know, like your neighbors, so to speak, yeah?
Yeah.
And that's really lovely, and I miss that.
So over these years, you know, when you worked on other films and other TV, you've done a lot of TV too, and people realize who you are, they go, oh my God, I love Run Lola Run. Does that happen a lot?
Yeah, the best thing is if it happens after a while. Like, they realize it after a while. You're like, yeah. It happens, to be honest with you, no offense, but a specific age group, you know, that you and I are in. You can't impress a 30-year-old.
I get it.
You're like, what?
But hey, it's just a number, come on.
So they have to be like over 38 or so.
But see, now, it's going to change.
I would love, just also in an artistic sense, if you imagine if the film were as if you saw it new, right? Like, and it would open up to a whole new audience that it just wasn't there when the movie, you know, first opened. I think that would be really cool if we could make that happen.
You know, with all these, every year, you know, movies, they'll get re-released. You know, sometimes it's a big, you know, type of like Hollywood blockbuster or whatever. But I've never seen this kind of a reaction when a sort of an art house film or a foreign film is re-released. Like the passion behind the movie lovers who just adore this film. Yeah. But also because, you know, you heard the applause in the beginning, there's a lot of people who are seeing this movie for the first time. So what's your take on how here we are in 2024 and there's a whole new generation of people who are going to discover Run Lola Run?
It's wild, you know, like I think that's ideally what any kind of art should do. You know, it's like a book, you know, like I read books that, you know, were published when I was a kid, you know, and so if something's around and it still has, this sounds a little pretentious, but if a movie or a book still has something to say that connects to now, why not? You know, I think it's, you know, it doesn't matter when it was made, you know. I think ideally this is an analog film. Like you have like a phone, oh my God, you know, there's what people are like, what's that? What's she speaking into? You know, that's a phone. That's fun, you know, why not? I was telling you this morning, I went to a warehouse rave a few weeks ago, and they were playing music like this. And I was like, oh my God, it's like Lola. So there's maybe a renaissance of like this kind of techno-ish, like, ravey music. So I don't know, we'll see. I think it could work.
Absolutely.
Let's dye our hair red.
But you know what? I have to also, Franka, like, you know, when the movie came out and you were like, you're already working on the next film, you've got a perspective at that moment because the movie turned out to be a bigger hit than I think y'all possibly could have hoped or imagined. But that was 98, 99. Now, 25 years later, how has your perspective on the movie itself changed? Like, how do you see the film differently now versus how you saw it back in 25 years ago?
I don't know. I think I'm a little bit more relaxed now seeing it. Like, it's a little bit easier to take myself out of the equation. I can see that it's me, and I think my memories tether me to what's on the screen, but it has been a while. I'm different person. I've had experiences and children and all the things in the middle, but I can enjoy it a little bit more as a movie as such. But I have to say, like, I'm not like, and I'm very strict, I'm not like watching it being like, oh, this looks outdated. It's not like when you watch like the first King Kong and you're like, oh my God, those are stupid little, you know, it's not like that.
But how proud are you of this movie?
I'm very proud. You know, it's like my best buddy, like in a film sense. You know, I wouldn't miss it for anything. And when Tom and I did a lot of interviews together via Zoom, like for this whole thing, it was really lovely. I think we were really kind of started getting under our skin a little bit after a while. We're like, oh my God, we had a good time. That was a really good movie, yeah.
Well, listen, ladies and gentlemen, so the movie it's in theaters. This is the way to see this movie. And how do you spread the word about a film now? This is something we did not have back in 98, 99. Of course, you go on social media. So make sure you go on social media. You know, if you want to use Facebook, if you want to use X, knock yourself out. But go on and spread the word about the 4K restoration of Run Lola Run. Run to the theater to see this movie. Thank you for being here at the Nuart. Thank you.
Yay!
Woo! Thank you.
Genius.